Hello, good morning. Welcome to Melody Joy Quilts. I am your host, Melody Joy, and I wanted to introduce my two newest members of the family. This is Astro, and he is a little boy kitty cat, and he is just the sweetest. I'm trying to bribe him to come closer to me right now. Where's Snowflake? Okay, come here. Come here. Do you want a little treat? We adopted two kittens 2 weeks ago, and so this is the little boy kitten. He's gonna be a little squirmy probably. I'm trying to get him to come over and eat a treat. You want a treat? You want a treat? Where'd Snowflake go? So that one, the little boy is Astro, and this little girl, I'm just gonna put them up here for a minute. Here, want a snack? This little girl is Snowflake, and I named her Snowflake because she just has a little white dot on her nose. So to me, it looks like a little bit of snow has just fallen right on her nose, so I named her Snowflake. So these are my new fur babies, and they are just the sweetest. So I wanted to take a minute and show them to you. The theme of this video today is gonna be cats and quilts. And so I got this double focus 3-yard quilt book because it has the fur babies pattern. And so I've started making the fur babies pattern, which has cat quilt blocks. And it's cat quilt blocks alternated with a heart block. And so there's just those two blocks in the quilt, the heart block and the cat block. And in the book, they show it made with batiks. So they actually show it here made with batiks. And so that's actually what I'm doing. I also am doing it with batiks, but I'm actually using 2 different colors for my cats because I have 2 cats. And so anyway, I don't usually let them up here on the sewing table, but I wanted to show them to you guys because these are my new little babies. And they are just, like I said, they're just like the most precious, sweet little things. Like I said, this one is Snowflake and that one is Astro. And these are my new babies, my new fur babies. And I'm gonna show you guys how to piece the blocks. It's very simple stitching. For the cat blocks, you will be doing some stitch and flip. And for the heart, there is stitch and flip and half square triangles. So if you're a new or beginner quilter or more experienced, either way, this quilt is very simple to make. And I'm gonna get these kittens off the table and show you how to make it. So we are gonna get started on this little project. The first thing you have to do when working with a pattern is decide on what your colors are gonna be. Okay, so in this case, I just took a basic white 100% cotton as my background fabric. And then it's a 3-yard quilt pattern, so you only need 1 yard each of your double focus, but I'm actually doing 3 because I wanna alternate my kitty cats. So I want some of my kitty cats to be this orange and pink batik. All of my hearts are gonna be the pink batik, but some of them are gonna be this teal and pink, and so I'm actually gonna alternate my cats. So you need to pick your fabrics, and then the cutting instructions are in the pattern. This book is from Fabric Cafe. We're gonna first make the heart block. So I'm making all of my heart blocks out of this pink batik. So you're gonna need 2 of your background rectangles. You're gonna need 1 of your large background squares, a matching focus print, which in this case is my pink batik. And a batik is kind of, the way that they make these fabrics, it almost has a tie-dye, it's not a distinct pattern, it's kind of more of like a modeled pattern. And so they're kind of very distinctive if you've worked with these before. Some people love them, some people hate them. I tend to be in the, I kind of love it. It kind of looks like watercolors to me. So to make the heart block, 2 background rectangles, a background square, and a print square that match. These are gonna be to make your half square triangles. This is gonna be the top of the heart. You're gonna need 2 of the matching print squares. And then you're gonna need 4 of your background squares of the really small squares. You're gonna need 4 of these. Okay, now we're gonna take all of our squares. So for each heart block, we're gonna have 5 squares, 1 large square and 4 little ones. We're gonna draw a line diagonally from corner to corner on the back of our background squares. I'm just gonna lay a ruler here on this. I'm gonna take a pencil and I am just gonna draw a line diagonally from corner to corner. We're gonna take our large print square. If you can tell which is the right side, with batik, sometimes it's hard to tell. I think this is the wrong side. This to me looks more vibrant, so I'm gonna call this the right side. We're gonna lay this background square on here, and there's not a right or a wrong to my background because it's a solid, and I'm just gonna make sure that's lined up. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on a 1/4 inch foot on my sewing machine. I am gonna sew a 1/4 inch away on either side of these lines. So I'm gonna lift my little presser foot here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, I don't want you messing with that. Okay. It's like having toddlers. Okay. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna turn this around, and I'm gonna sew a 1/4 inch down on the other side. Okay, so you can see it better on the pink side probably that I have sewn a 1/4 inch away from that center line on both sides. What I'm gonna do now is cut this right along that line. So right along my line that I drew earlier, I'm gonna cut this. So I have 2 here. Now, I have something new. Where is it? Haha. Okay. I have not used this before, but I received these slotted trimmers, the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmers, 1 alignment, 2 cuts, trims all sides of half square triangles, including removing the dog ears. I have not used this ruler before. Okay, this one cuts it, this is trimmer B, so it cuts to a full inch, so 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, and 6 inch. And this one is trimmer A, cut HST size is 1/2 inch, okay? Place dashed line of desired cut size on seam of unpressed HST. So we're gonna trim this before we press it open. That's it. So I'm gonna lay this here. I'm gonna flip it over. So there's my seam line there. So I'm gonna take on here where it says 3.5 inches, and I'm gonna lay that on here. There's not a lot to trim off. There's a little bit. So I'm gonna lay that there, and I'm gonna trim, and then I'm gonna trim this way. And then you're also supposed to come in right here and trim this and here. That's the slots. So that now, when I iron this, it should be ready to put in our quilt block. Let's see. Okay, I am just gonna measure this and see how it turned out. Yeah, 3.5 inches, and the dog ears are already cut off. So normally when you trim with, when you trim a half square triangle, once you iron it open, you have the little ends of here have to be trimmed off. But this trimmer actually has these slots in it, so it trims it off as you go. That's pretty neat. I've seen this demoed. This is literally my first time using it. Clearly, pretty easy. I think I'm gonna like using this one. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I have my 3.5 inch line on my stitch line. I am going to cut here, and then I'm gonna cut in these slots here and here. And that's it. Oh, that's my rotary blade, probably needs to be changed. Okay, all right, I'm gonna iron this one. Now you don't have to have a specialty ruler to trim your HSTs. The main thing is you're gonna sew on 1/4 inch away on either side of your line, and then you're gonna trim it down 3.5 inches. Sometimes these little specialty rulers just make things easier because I just did all my trimming. Some people avoid quilts that have a lot of HSTs because the trimming gets kind of tedious. So if you have a tool like this, it can make it go faster because you can trim things up quicker. But I've also used a square ruler before. I've also used a strip tube ruler. So I mean, use what you have. But if you want to upgrade to something that might be a little bit more convenient, I do think this could be a good option. these two different trimmers have, this one is gonna be, if you wanted to trim it to 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 or 6, and this one is the 1/2 inches. 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5. So lots of sizes just in these 2 rulers that came in this pack, and easy, efficient, accurate. Okay, very cool. I like getting new quilting tools. It's not essential, but it's kind of fun. Okay, so now this is going to end up being, these 2 half square triangles are going to end up being the bottom of this heart. Okay, so we're gonna make the bottom of the heart right now. So all I'm gonna do is put these 2 like this. We're gonna fold this one over, and now we're gonna stitch with a 1/4 inch seam down this side. So when it opens up, we've got the bottom of our heart. Okay, so just lay them out how you want them to go, flip it over, and then sew down that side. I'm not gonna pin or anything because this is just one little seam. One of the things that I like about sewing with the batiks is that they're kind of a little bit stiffer than other cottons. I think the way that they're made just makes them a little bit stiffer. So I feel like I can get really precise with them. Okay, so that's gonna be the bottom of our heart. How easy was that? Okay, we're gonna take our 4 little miniature squares, and we're now going to work on the top of the heart. So there's 4 stitch and flips on the top of the heart. So you're gonna take your 2 matching squares, okay? And all we need to do right now is lay these little squares here on the corners. So you've gotta pick the 2 corners that are on the same side. You don't do like this, not opposite. On the same, pick a side, and you're gonna put 2 of them on there, and you're gonna do the same over here. Oh, I ended up with 5 of these. They're so little. Okay. Don't be intimidated by small pieces, but this really does give your heart a really nice shape. Okay, so you have your 2 squares of your print and your 4 little squares of the background. Same thing, we need to draw a line. Now, this is so small, you could just aim from corner to corner and do that, but if you wanna be real precise, go ahead and lay your ruler on there and go ahead and just pencil in your line. Or you could use one of those heat erasable pens. My ink ran out in those. I need to get some more. I like the heat erasable pens, but I have 3 school-age children, so I always have pencils in my house. Lots of pencils. Okay, let's see here. Turn. Okay, so now I have my diagonal lines marked, and all I'm gonna do, what I like to do is turn it this way and start here, and so from here to here, and then just kind of pull my thread out a little bit, and then sew from here to here, all in one go. I'm not gonna pin this because it's so small. So this is what I mean. I'm gonna start here. Now, earlier, for the half square triangles, we stitched a 1/4 inch away from the line. For stitch and flip, you're gonna sew on the line you drew. Okay, so different techniques. I'm gonna line this up, and I'm gonna sew directly on that line. I'm gonna make sure I have a small stitch length because this is so small, and I'm just turning it down to a 2. Okay, when I get to the end of that corner, sometime I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit, rotate this around, and then sew on this one. And I can do both of these in the same go. So that's one. And then same thing, the other one, same thing. I'm gonna start here and sew up this way to the top, and then kind of pull the thread out a little bit and then stitch from the top to the bottom. And that way I can do it all at one time. I'm gonna lift this, pull my thread out a little bit so I can spin my block around a little bit. Make sure I'm in the corner there. Okay, let's see here. Alrighty, trimming off some of these threads. Now, you should have 2 little units that look like this, and your stitch lines should be going diagonal. This is for the stitch and flip, so it should look like that. I'm gonna take my iron and press the whole thing. Then I'm gonna lift this little corner up and sort of just finger press it down. So same thing, just lift the corner up, press it to the outside, and then I'm gonna iron those down. Okay, so now it should look like this. The next thing I'm gonna do is lift up just that top layer, take your scissors, and you're just gonna trim about a 1/4 inch away these little tiny, tiny pieces, okay? Same thing on this one. Lift your top edge, and you're gonna trim away that underneath side. Okay, I got a little bit, I'm gonna just trim up this edge a little tiny bit here because I got a little funky with that one. Okay, same thing here. I'm just going to iron. I'm gonna lift and fold. This is that stitch and flip. You stitch and then you flip, okay? Same thing over here. Lift and flip, okay? Okay, trimming off that underneath. Okay, so this is now going to be the top of our heart. So, see how this is coming together here. This is gonna be the top of our little heart. So all I'm gonna do is fold these pieces together. So same thing, make sure that you have them how you want them to go. And I'm gonna start from the corner that does not have any stitching, and I'm gonna start stitching here. Okay, so right on up towards the top of my block here. Okay, double threads going on. Okay, so now I'm gonna iron this open. Okay, so now I've made the top of the heart. So the top of the heart and the bottom of the heart. And this seam is good. I've already got my seams. I've got this seam is going this way and this seam is pressed going that way. So now I'm gonna just flip these together. These will nest up, which means you can kind of slide them together right here in the middle and it will just kind of interlock with each other. I'm now gonna sew these pieces together. Alrighty, let's go ahead and open this one up. It doesn't really matter which way you press it, just as long as you get this opened up and pressed. Okay. You just made a heart. It's 4 stitch and flips and 2 half square triangles. Very simple, very easy. Do you remember those background rectangles we had earlier? We're gonna stitch 1 to the bottom and we're gonna stitch 1 to the top. All the sizes and measurements are in the pattern. This is Fabric Cafe's double focus 3-yard quilt book. I am just ironing this one. Okay, so that's the bottom sewn on. Now I'm gonna take the top piece, I'm gonna fold this over, and we're gonna sew across the top here. Kind of just make sure I'm lined up nicely with the sides here. Okay, and we're gonna sew across the top. Okay. Oh. My needle came unthreaded. I didn't sew anything that time. That happens. Okay, I'm just gonna rethread my machine right now. Okay. Okay. We're gonna try that again. honestly why I prefer to use the enders and leaders, because it helps not have any knotted threads, and it helps just keep everything in place so that I don't have the needle get unthreaded or anything like that. Okay, I'm gonna iron this. Let's see here. Okay, so now we've got almost a heart here, but we need to add these two pieces here. So it's just two of our print rectangles, and we're gonna take these print rectangles and we're gonna, oh, this one's not trimmed to size yet. Let's trim this one down. Okay, I'm gonna go, let me give this a little press. Just press that a little bit. Okay, let me go ahead and add these pieces on. Again, I'm not sure that there's a right or a wrong here. With the batik, sometimes you can't really tell. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this piece on here. And you can stop when about halfway through and just make sure that you're still lined up nicely. Okay, so there is one side. Iron this. Okay, and now I just need to add one more piece on the other side of this. I started this a few days ago, and then I've been so busy and everything kind of got moved around on the table, so I re-ironed my pieces that I cut out a few days ago. Okay, so now I'm gonna lay this one on. I think this is the back. Some fabrics, it's very obvious which is the right side and which is the wrong side. And on some fabrics, it's a little bit more of a guessing game. Still going here, okay? So that is the heart block. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is make a kitty cat block. And then these just alternate in the quilt. So you end up, the way the quilt pattern is written, you're gonna make 8 heart blocks and 8 kitty cat blocks. So that's pretty easy to make. There's the back of it. Simple, it's really simple piecing techniques. Same thing for this. There's actually no half square triangles in the cat. We're gonna do 2 stitch and flips here. We're gonna do 2 stitch and flips here, a small one and a larger one. And then we're gonna add in some rectangles of background fabric. And so this is gonna come together super easy. So now we need to make the cat block. And this is just all that alternates within the quilt is the cat block and the heart block. Okay, so you're gonna need a long background strip rectangle, a shorter rectangle, a large square, 3 small squares, and a small rectangle. Don't be intimidated by all the pieces. We're gonna use these to make the cat. It's gonna come together. Of your print, you're gonna need a large rectangle. This almost looks like a square, but it's actually a rectangle. You're gonna need a large square, and you're gonna need 2 of the tiny squares of the background. Okay, we're gonna start with the body of the cat. So take your large rectangle. If you have a batik, try to see which is the right side, which is the wrong side. And all I'm gonna do right now is, this ends up being the body of the cat, right? Okay, so this ends up being the body of the cat. So we're gonna take a large square and lay it wherever you want that one to be. I think I want it to go, I'm probably overthinking this. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna lay this on here, and same like we did earlier. This is a stitch and flip. It's just a large stitch and flip. So I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna draw my line. So we're just going diagonally corner to corner to get that line on there. And now I'm gonna stitch directly on that line. Take this, all I'm gonna do is iron, flip it back, iron again, and then we're gonna trim off those bottom 2 layers. So all I have to do right now is if I lift this top layer, there's my seam line, and I'm gonna trim off these back 2. Okay, so just set that aside. So that's part 1. Now we're gonna take one of those little tiny squares and we're gonna lay it on this other corner. And same thing, we're gonna draw a line diagonally across this. And basically what we're doing is creating the body of the cat, and this is like its neck, okay? So I just need to sew this one down right along. I'm sewing right on the line. And I have my stitch length set on a 2. Okay, get that one out of there. Same technique, a stitch and a flip. It's so overcast here today. It's like raining off and on. Okay, trim that part off. Okay, so now this is the body of our cat. Very easy, I'm gonna set that aside. Next, we're gonna work on our cat's head. So take your background square, you're gonna take your 2 little white squares, and these are gonna go here because it's gonna end up being right like this. So we've already done the body of the cat, now we're working on the head of the cat, okay? So, same thing we just did. It's 2 more stitch and flips. I'm just trying to make sure I really have that in the corner good. This is so tiny, I'm not even gonna draw a line. I'm just gonna sew from corner to corner because I can it's such a short distance. As long as I start from one corner, I just aim to the other corner. It's so small. I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit, turn my block a little bit, do this other side right here. Same thing, I'm just gonna start from one corner and stitch down. Draw the line if that makes you more comfortable, but it's such a short distance. I'm okay with not drawing a line for this small one. Just because it's such a small amount that you have to go. Okay. I'm gonna iron these back. Okay, same thing. I just need to trim this. Okay. All right. So this is the neck of our cat. Now, if you're wondering, these don't match up. This other rectangle is gonna fit in here in a minute. Now, it obviously doesn't fit right now yet. We needed to make our ears for our cat, okay? So I'm gonna take this narrow background rectangle. I'm gonna take my 2 squares here, and all I'm gonna do right now is sew my ears. So we gotta go diagonally from corner to corner on these little tiny blocks. It's not difficult, but you just gotta make sure you're lined up well. If you wanna draw the line, draw the line. I'm not gonna draw the line. I'm just gonna line it up on one corner and aim for the other corner. Okay, that's one side. And now I just have to do the other one. Okay. So when it's on here, so I've stitched from here to here. So now I'm gonna lay this other one right here, and I've got to stitch from here to here to make the ear points. There are really good diagrams in the pattern. So I definitely recommend buying this book because it comes with, I think, 8 quilt patterns, and I already know I want to do daisies and diamonds from this 3-yard quilt book, but the first one I wanted to do was fur babies. Okay. Okay, we're burning through our pieces. We're almost done. If you thought it looked intimidating with all those pieces laid out, it's not. It's very simple techniques. So same thing, stitch and a flip. Pull that corner out. Okay, so now you should have something that looks kind of like this. And all I need to do now is trim these little under layers off. Okay. So now, this is the head of your cat. This down here is the neck. This part is going to be the ears of your cat. So we're gonna put, this goes on the opposite, not that way, this way. So that this is the ears of the cat. Okay, so we have, this is the neck, this is the ears. So all I'm gonna do right now is fold this over, and I'm gonna stitch right along this side here. It's a very kind of abstract sort of a cat, but it's still pretty obvious it's a cat. Okay, so now I'm gonna iron this open, and this will be the head and the ears of our little kitty. Okay. Okay, so now we have our head and our body. Now all we have to do is add our background pieces to make this a complete unit. So I'm gonna take the background rectangle and sew it to one side here. And it's, if you need to check yourself, just check. So this is the body of our cat. Here's where the neck is. So the neck is gonna go to the head. So the rectangle has to go where it's gonna be next to this big background triangle. So, you know, you just make sure you're laying it out. I'm facing it towards you guys right now. When I was piecing it by myself, I had it facing towards me, but I'm facing it towards y'all so y'all can see what it looks like. So I'm just gonna fold this over. They're so delightful. They're just playing at my feet. And honestly, it's the sweetest. And if you need a dopamine hit, I might recommend Kittens. Originally, we were just gonna get one, but I'm really happy we got the brother-sister pair because they play together so nicely. They're over here in this corner. Okay, so now we have our head, our ears, and our background piece. So now these two components will fit together, okay? So fold this one over, and we're gonna stitch down this line. We go together. I'm trying to just line up by the neck because that's the part that probably matters the most. There's not really exactly seams to match, but if you were gonna match anything, I would aim for matching it by the neck because that's really where you want it to come together. If it makes you feel more comfortable to pin, certainly you can pin. I think this would be a fun quilt for anyone who loves cats. There's another cat quilt I have my eye on. I was on the Fat Quarter Shop website the other day, and there's a free Tula pink quilt that is called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a Cheshire cat one. Okay, if you notice I'm a little bit off here on the side, so all I'm gonna do is take this ruler And I'm just going to trim up this side a tiny bit because it's a little bit off before I add my other piece on there. Okay, I just to even that up on the side. Okay, so now the last part that I have to do is add this extra background piece on the side here. So this just goes here on the side. I'm just gonna sew this on and that block is done. Those are the only two blocks in the quilt. There's a heart block and there's a cat block. I was thinking that you could use a fat quarter bundle for this because you could make each cat out of a different fat quarter from a fat quarter bundle, and then just get your yard of fabric for your hearts and your yard of fabric for your background. But then your cats could all be from a fat quarter bundle, and then it would be just a little bit more variety. It's just a thought I had. I might try doing that. I have some sunflower print fat quarters, and I'm thinking, are y'all like this? Are you on one project and you're already thinking to like 15 other projects, or is that just me? Are you someone who follows the pattern exactly, or are you always thinking up modifications? I already modified this by adding in 2 colors of cats, but now I'm already thinking about making 8 different colors of cats. Because, you know, in a single litter, a lot of times the cats are all different colors. So many ideas, so little time. Loose thread here. Okay, so there you go. So that is a cat block, and this is my other one, and I'm gonna use both of these 2 colors in my quilt top. They both have the pink. This one's like orange and pink, and this one's like teal and purple and pink. It has a lot of different colors in it. I know it's really pretty, and I'm gonna alternate it with these pink heart blocks. And so that is the fur baby quilt. Now, I told you the theme of this episode today was going to be cats and quilts. I have one more thing I want to show you. Okay, so I told you the theme of today was cats and quilts. I feel like Sesame Street, like the letter of the day, but we're gonna do the theme of the day, cats and quilts. Okay, so I love quilting, but it can be a very solo hobby, right? Because you're kind of working on a project by yourself. And I have 3 kids. I'm from a large family. I actually have 2 brothers and 3 sisters, and then all my husband's extended family. When we get together, we play board games. We are a board game family. Let me show you my current favorite board game. It is called Calico. I am not sponsored by this. I just love this game. And if you like cats and you like quilting, you might also love this game, because the theme of this game is that you have these little boards, and what you try to do is you're gonna put little blocks on here that you get during the game, and you try to create a quilt pattern that will attract cats. And so there's these different color tiles, and so there's like, you're gonna put them on your board, and there's like different goals, and I'm not explaining this super well. There's whole videos about how the game works. You can look for it, but there's these little cats. And if you meet the goal, a cat will come and lay down on your quilt, and you get points for how many cats you get to lay down on your quilt. Like, this is a 7-point cat, okay? So it's a cat and quilt game that you can play with your family. And I just love it. It's one of my favorite games. And there's little buttons you can also win if you get a lot of patches of the same color on your board. You can get these little buttons. And so there's little buttons that go on there, and the buttons are also worth points. So if you get like 3 pink quilt blocks together, you get a little pink button on your quilt. So you get little buttons and little cats on your quilt, which is really fun. And the name of the game is called Calico, and there's a bunch of different cats in here. One of the other really fun things is in here, I'm sorry, my nerd is coming out. you can meet the cats. So it tells you each cat in the game is based on a real live cat that belongs to someone. And so there's Sierra, there's Guinevere, Callie, Tecolote, Almond, Rumi, Tidbit, Coconut, Millie, Shop Cat, Luna, and it tells you the bio of each cat. So if you love cats, this might be a fun game for you. Save the best for last. If you win the game, you are awarded the Master Quilter. That is the little prize that you get. Now, obviously, I always want to win, but it's even better if you get a purple ribbon that says you're the Master Quilter. So anyway, if you want a fun board game to play with your family that kind of combines some of your interests, if you're interested in cats or quilts, might I recommend Calico. Not sponsored, just love it. And my mom and I love to play this game together, and it goes back and forth on who wins. She's really good. I got my competitive nature from my mom. But this is just a really sweet game. And it says that it is for ages 1 to 4 players, ages 10 plus. That's what it's recommended for. My 8-year-old son plays sometimes, but it is a little bit of a complex game, but the theming is just so cute. So if you can't actually quilt and you need to do something with your family, this is a winner. Not cats and quiltings, but cat related. Since I was pulling that game out of my board game closet, we own a lot of board games. This one is called MLEM, and I'm not gonna get the whole thing out, but basically you have space cats that you're trying to get to space. It's a cooperative game. This one says it's for ages, this one says ages 8 plus, 2 to 5 players. And this game definitely is a little bit more friendly for the younger kids. Also, because you roll dice and you try to take space missions, you're trying to get your kitties to outer space. Maybe I will just show you some of the things in this box. This one's not quilt related, but you have this really fun board game. And like this planet has goldfish on it, and this planet is made out of yarn. And so anyway, it's combining fiber arts and games. And anyway, it's just a really fun game. You get to pick which space kitty astronaut you want to be. You roll dice and you try to work together as a team to get all the way to outer space. Very fun game. So I wasn't really even planning on getting these out, but then we started talking about cats and quilts, and of course I had to pull out Calico and then the other cat game that we own. Happy quilting! Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm just gonna spam you with a few more cats and quilt pictures. Astro is my sweetest little fur baby. He sleeps on my chest a lot when I'm watching TV at night. He'll come cuddle up with me. And Snowflake is usually close by. And they have been just a delight. I am so happy to have them in our family as an addition to our family. And thank you for joining me today. Happy quilting. Where are you going? Where are you going? Look. Snowflake, where are you going?